I would love to bring up Dr. Ramon Goings.
Hey, Jasmine, what's going on?
Hey, Dr. Ramon, how you
I'm
doing?
good. How you doing?
I'm great. It's always a pleasure to speak with you. We talk all the time, but it's always a pleasure to
Yeah,
come on Zoom and chat and
definitely.
catch up. All right. So can you please introduce yourself to the room?
Yeah, hi everybody. My name is Dr. Ramon Goings. I guess daytime job. I just got tenured about 4 or 5 days ago. So I'm a tenured college professor at the University of
Congrats.
Maryland, Baltimore County. Appreciate it. Yeah, the ink is just drying, so I'm just go ahead and give me that so I can run with it. So a tenured professor during the day, but I own a company called Done Dissertation, where we demystify the dissertation process so that doctoral students can write and defend their dissertation in 1 year or less. So we're really all about just helping doctoral students get out of the process. So as you all know, you probably know somebody in your circle right now who's been in a doctoral program for years, probably decades at this point, and they don't know how to get out. And that's what I specialize in getting folks out of the process.
Listen, y'all, I'm thinking about going back to school to get my doctorate. And I hit up Dr. Goings and like, listen, this is what I'm thinking about. What are my options?
Yeah, we gotta get you out. If you want it, we definitely gotta get you out the fastest way and not get caught up in these systems.
How can we leverage this afterwards? And if I move forward, I need to be done in a year or less. So if I decide to go back to get my PhD, he's definitely going to be my dissertation coach. But congrats on getting tenured. I
Thank
know
you.
that we talked about that was one of your goals, and I'm just so happy for you.
Thank you.
All right. So can you you've graduated out of the program.
Yeah.
Out of the current program. Got another one yet, but you don't know about it. But you graduated out of the current program, and we worked together for a year and a half. And can you just share where you were prior to working with us and some of the things that you were experiencing?
Yeah, so before I started working with Jasmine, of course, for my job, I have to write. So like writing a book and things wasn't like scary or anything like that for me. But what I was doing before working with Jasmine, I had done 4 books previously and they weren't making any money. So literally like the publishers were taking all my publishing and I was not seeing a dime for any of the books. And I just said, well, I have an expertise that I was already helping doctoral students get out of get out of the process. And I'm like, I need to write a book about this and I got to do something. But I just didn't know the self-publishing side. I didn't understand the process. And I'm like, I need to find somebody who specializes in this. And in one particular random day, I'm watching YouTube, and then here comes across Social Proof Podcast and someone named Jasmine Womack talking about writing a book. And I'm like, what is this? Like, were they listening to me on YouTube? You know, your phone's listening. And so, I thought, well, let me listen to what she has to say. She's talking like what I like to talk. And then her background as a teacher, I'm a former K-12 music and special education teacher, so I could connect there. It made sense. I like working with teachers. We know how to do things. We know how to give instruction and help people all types of learning styles. And so, in my business, what I was doing, I was getting success with students. I was definitely undercharging. I wasn't making that much. And I kind of saw my business as a side hustle versus being in an actual business. And so I knew that the book would be the first piece, kind of like the foundation to help build everything else. And so when I started working with Jasmine, I said, I got to reach out to her. I followed her on Instagram. You know how y'all do. You're probably doing it right now. Like I'm checking all her posts. Is she legit? Or, all that stuff like that we got to do our due diligence on. And so that's really what I did. And I said that she's real deal. Let me find out and work with her. And then it just started from there. But and I'll turn it back over to you, Jasmine. But I was apprehensive at first about working with Jasmine because I was just like, ooh, the investment. Lord, I gotta shell out some money. But then what I had to start thinking about in that situation was like either I invest in myself and get help or just stay stuck and just be in the same place. And so I had a choice to make. And luckily at that time, I actually met with Jasmine. I had a call with her. And literally I said, no, I'm not interested. And I turned around and I left. And then what happens when you do that, somehow out of nowhere, I get a contract for like $10,000. And I'm like, wait a minute. Maybe God was just telling me, go back to talk to Jasmine and figure that thing out. It's like literally the next day I went back and I was like, I got to start working with her in the program. So I get the help I needed to really help me get my book and everything else together.
So, yeah. So first you were like, you know what? I can't do it. I'm not doing it. And then you came back within 48 hours and actually enrolled in the program. And so what happened then?
Yeah. So, you
enrolled in the boot camp.
Yeah, I was in the boot camp in the first part. This is back when we were doing like the 3-day piece. Like, I was helping put my book together. So I had mapped the book out over the course of this weekend. And then I didn't do anything at that point. I was in the midst of moving, the pandemic. I got a new job. I was a lot of transition. So it took me about a month or so to really get into it. And then literally my wife was in a wedding and I'm sitting in the room based on the teaching from Jasmine that she taught. I was able to literally use her process to write my book in about 2.5 hours. So the shell of my book, which is called 14 Secrets to a Done Dissertation, I literally wrote in a hotel room with the initial draft. And so putting that together was really helpful. But I think where Jasmine really comes in handy is like not only about the book, but it's like, how do you turn this to a business and make money? Like, I'm not in here I didn't take a vow of poverty. And so I'm like, how do I build from this book? And so literally, the strategies that she put in place, I just followed them to a T. So like if you in the program, for those of you who already joined, like just follow the roadmap. It's literally laid out for you. If you just follow it, the success comes. And so once the book was ready, I went through all the steps that she outlined in the curriculum to, get my ISBN, all those things, put in my pre-sale page together to draw sales. And I think pre-sales, I think the book came out February 2021. Pre-sales, I might have done like 30 or 40 copies. But then first month I sold 200. Second month I sold another 200. And then I had to re-up from the book printer to get another 500 because now I'm starting to sell them at universities and speak. And so literally the book took off. And then from there, the business, because I had an offer behind the book, that took off as well.
So you sold about 400 books within like the first month and a half of it being out. And then you ordered another bulk because you were getting these partnerships and speaking engagements at these universities. So I think we talked earlier about pricing, and we learned that, you want to make $10,000, you got to sell 400 copies of your book. And the best way to do it is by selling in bulk. And he surpassed that. So, so when that worked, like what was your feeling of saying, hey, now I got a book and now it's actually selling faster than I thought it would?
Yeah. So when I was, started selling the books are selling. I'm speaking because I'm known as a researcher in my area. I write about Black male student success. And so of course I go speak and then people bring me in to do stuff. But then my clientele went up, right? So I was doing one-on-one at this point. So I had one-on-one coaching services for doctoral students, and I was getting booked out. And I literally was so stressed because I had, 10, 15 clients. I'm providing all this value, not really knowing not charging what I should be charging. And I still have a full-time job that I want to be successful at. I got to apply for tenure. All these things are happening. And I said, I got to change the business model or else I'm going to crash and burn. And so I'm like, how do I do that? And I just couldn't figure it out on my own. And then that's when Jasmine, at that point had the mastermind. I was like, I need something else for me to take this one-on-one and turn into a group coaching program. And that's literally what I did. Again, the book helped me start that process because I was able to kind of get my ideas and the structure of what a group program would look like in the book. And then literally I just took the book, enhanced it, and created into what now I have is the Done Dissertation Velocity Group Coaching Program. And we work with folks over 4 months to help get them to either their dissertation proposal defense or their final defense. So we get people in and out of the program. And so literally like working with Jasmine helped me turn it into the group model. And then she taught me how to sell. I know how to sell because I've been doing that already, but just really how to sell with a group program, how to overcome objections, all those things. And then I just rinse and repeat. Like literally, she laid out the process. So she's like, all right, do this with the text messages, do this to market, do this to advertise, do live streams, and just work the process. And that's what I did. And so literally, I didn't have the program created. I said, Jasmine said, well, pre-sell the program like you would the book. And so I was like, all right, I'll pre-sell the program. And so I had pre-sold it about 2 months before before it was slated to come out. So once I sold the first one, I said, let me hurry up and get this together so that my first cohort was ready. And then literally it went from there. First cohort, I think I might have done like 30,000 in that cohort. Then I ran it again with the next group. We did probably another like 20 or 30,000. Then I started to see once you do the iterations and learn how to sell better, then the next cohort that ran like fall 21, we did about 80,000. And then now this last one, we did 100 and something thousand. And so like you start to see.
Tell me you cracked
we hit that. Folks that keep coming now. Everybody keeps seeing us. And so, we let some folks in. So we had a 6-figure launch on this last group. And then now it's getting to a point where we're pre-selling the cohorts before they start. So that's really what it is. It's just about following the process. And in the midst of this time also, my wife was a corporate executive. And I always said that my wife, Renee, she's a better seller than I am. And so I was like, Renee, I got to get you out of there. I need you here because you have the business knowledge and background to do the operations, the sales. And literally in February, she left. She was a VP at a national broker. And then now she works for the company. She does all the sales and operations. So like we've been able to build this thing. And I still got a full-time job. So we keep that going too.
Congrats. Y'all give Dr. Ramon a round of applause.
Okay.
Like, that's amazing. That is amazing. He literally took the strategies and ran with it. And one of the reasons why I had him to come on, because even though he's cracking 6-figure launches now and, bringing in over 300K, in his coaching business or whatnot, one of the reasons I had him come on is because he still studies.
Yeah, I'd be
Like,
following Jazz like, well, how's she launching this thing? How can I do this? That's why I'm not gonna get off when this ends. When I part in, I gotta see how she's talking about it, because it's really important to follow it.
So he comes on literally to everything that I do, and he studies from the perspective of a coach. So even though he graduated out of the programs that I had at the time, even after he graduated out, he was still updating me on his launches, and still asking me questions. Okay, I see you're doing this. Why are you doing this? And literally still being a student, and he goes and still makes adjustments. And we have our professional relationship, but we still are developing somewhat of a friendship as well. And I was supposed to meet his wife, but we didn't get a chance to connect while you were here in Atlanta. So it's amazing. And I absolutely have been honored to work with Dr. Ramon. And I love working with students like Dr. Ramon, who take the strategies and don't overthink it and just work it and ask the questions when you have it. Just ask the questions when you have it. So, and one of the reasons why studying works for Dr. Ramon is because he knows the back end, because he knows all the back end strategies, because he came through the program. So he's not looking from a surface perspective. He knows what's going on the back end. So he asks questions about the psychology behind certain things and the strategy and the structure and the why. And it's just amazing to continue to see him grow. So you've shared your financial wins. You've shared some of your non-financial wins as well, just in terms of getting to those spaces in your career and being able to retire your wife and have her come work for the family business. So if you were talking to somebody who was on the fence and concerned about the investment, like you were when you came in, what would you say to them?
Yeah, it's either you have two simple options: invest or stay where you are. So if you want to, if your goal is to make money, or if your goal is to make impact, if you want to stay where you are, not making the impact or not making the income you want, then don't do anything. But if you're looking to really have a strategy that works, as long as you work it. So I've heard this over. So I've been watching all the videos, and so something that's probably consistent between everybody that may have talked is that you have to put the work in. Nobody's going to do that part for you. But if you just follow the process, you put the work in, you will get an infinite return. Like, just think about this, regardless of what the investment is. Once you get a return, after that, it's the infinite returns for you. And I think that's the thing that you have to consider when making this type of investment. So I definitely would say definitely work with Jasmine and the team, and the coaches are dope too. So don't think it's just Jasmine, right? Coach Chani, I see her in here somewhere. I saw the name. And so like she's been really helpful, impactful as well. So like the coaching crew is really good as well. So you have a lot of support that you can do to get through this, get to your journey as a business owner. And so I definitely would say, like, don't wait, go ahead and make that investment in yourself. And, once you make that investment, you're going to get that return. And so definitely come in, implement the strategy, and they work, and you'll definitely make your money back easily, without a doubt.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. Let us know how we can contact you, where we can purchase your book, and for people who might be in their dissertation phase or working on their doctorate, how can they get in contact with you?
Yeah, first thing, and I'll drop this in the chat too. If you're a doctoral student, definitely grab the book, and I have some other things for you as well. But if you text #impact, and again, I'll put this in the chat, to 301-701-2466. And again, it's #impact, EMPACT, to 301-701-2466. You'll get a link there in the chat, in the text, and you'll get a link to the copy of the book with free shipping there. So that'll come to you. And then if you're interested in working with us or learning more, our website is www.thedonedissertation.com. And if you type in, Done Dissertation on Instagram, Facebook, you'll find us as well. And again, I'll put this in the chat. If you have any questions, just feel free to reach out. I do a live stream every week about different aspects of the dissertation process. I've been doing this for like a year straight, every week. And so definitely, tune in. We have a YouTube channel with all the past recordings. So definitely connect with us.
Awesome. Thank you so much for coming on, Dr. Ramon, and sharing your story and experience. And everyone, make sure that you connect with Dr. Ramon and the Dunn Dissertation family.